This chapter is the last in this volume, and actually, I really am enjoying the fight between Sakura and Ino. It's very, very strategic.
Number 72 of Naruto, this is. Rivals, they are.
Shintenshin No Jutsu, huh? Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and mindfuckery-filled tale of Naruto. Now, our last chapter, of course, saw us with really the Sakura and Ino fight starting off, but the majority of it taking place just kind of showing it through flashback form, their relationship and how it developed, how it was nurtured, and then eventually how it kind of, how they wound up becoming these rivals now, right? And it wound up leaving off, the chapter ended off with, of course, them just starting to attack each other. So the fight was beginning. That's where things left off, and that's right where things pick up. And actually, the first several pages of it, it was kind of funny because it was a real yawner for everybody, including the fictional characters within the story. Because what happens is these two know each other so well, and they're so evenly matched that they were literally just, like throwing punches and like meeting in midair with the punches, trading blows at the same time. They're so evenly matched, they're throwing shurikens that are hitting each other in midair and clanging off. And there's a couple of different times where, like Rock Lee, Lee's looking and he's like, man, they're so evenly matched and this and that, and it's just a pleasure seeing Sakura move at first, he's saying. But then after a while he's watching, he's just like, they're so evenly matched, I can see this dragging out and being real boring, And a couple other, even her own teammates are like, oh god, this is getting boring, So about the first half of the chapter is actually them just, again, showing just how evenly matched they are and really having no one have any type of advantage. So as Sakura and Ino says something to the effect of, yeah, I can't believe we're this evenly matched, and Sakura pokes fun at her again, saying something about her long hair and her this and that and blah, 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 obsession with it, and there's no parallel or equal for that. So Ino winds up going and just taking a kunai out and just going and lopping off her like 2 or 3 foot of hair that's on her ponytail and just tosses the hair down on the ground. It spreads out everywhere and what have you, And, and Sakura's thinking, what the hell's the deal with this, right? So then Ino finally gets so frustrated from some of Sakura's words that it looks like she plays into her hand, plays into her trap, and that's when she goes to do that Shintenshin No Jutsu, and we find out that's basically it's like a mental art that she has. It's where she can go and mentally go and take control of somebody and their psyche. And she has to go and make this sign and everything like that. And then basically there's drawbacks to it that we find out. And the drawback is that, number one, it can only travel along a straight path. So it's like this invisible energy or this chakra that's focused that goes out. It only can go straight along this path. It's not like a heat-seeking missile just based on who you're looking at. It goes straight, that's it. It's more of an espionage tactic that you use from a distance to maybe go and take somebody over. Or, for instance, when her teammate is able to go and use his shadow move or whatever, where he's actually able to go and kind of possess and hold the person in place, grip and hold the person in place. And then she's able to have not a stationary target. It doesn't work in battle. It's basically, everybody's like, it's suicide trying to use this in battle, And even Sakura points that out to her and says, and then I guess the other drawback too is that if you go and you fire this out and it misses, right, it takes several minutes for it actually to go and kind of come back to you. And that whole time, you're just kind of laying there as like a limp and lifeless body, pretty much just kind of like a rag doll, right? So the whole deal here is that she's got one shot. If she misses Sakura with it and Sakura dodges it, Sakura can just basically pummel her body until all of a sudden she comes back and is able to. But her whole thought is that she's going to go and take over Sakura's psyche and then basically get her to utter the words, I give up, or I give in, whatever. So, you're the victor, I'm the best, whatever. She wants to have her say. So as she goes doing her sign, she's getting ready, and everybody's like collectively holding their breath, including Kakashi and Guy, everybody, right? And they're all, and she goes and fires this thing out or whatever, and Sakura's like, as she's dodging, she's like, yeah, oh yeah, you missed, now you're done, and this and that, and blah, 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 And Ino kind of, her eyes roll up into her head, so she looks like she's all messed up and in her little, psychic trance thing or whatever. And all of a sudden, man, she goes and she looks up, and the whole thing was a trap to begin with, right? She actually wound up going and doing all those signs, and she pretty much faked out Sakura, getting her to dodge, zigzag, go left, go right, shuck, jive, whatever. and basically got her to go and fall into her trap, which was she took the pile of hair that was kind of just thrown and strewn about, excuse me, and wound up using it, using her chakra on it, and actually being able to turn it into a rope. So it's now she lured Sakura into it, and now Sakura is being held down by it, and she can't move. So she's like, yeah, now I think if I actually go and use this, I'll actually have a 100% chance of hitting you. What do you think, Sakura? You know. So then as the chapter and the volume goes and ends off, she goes and she fires herself up, you know, over here, and winds up doing the, she goes, Shintenshin No Jutsu, you know, does her signs and everything like that. Sakura is obviously bound in place there. She cannot move her feet. And as it looks like, we see a picture over here, it looks like Ino's face is kind of in there, you know, and kind of obviously that she's like possessed her. And then she's like, Sakura. You know, and then everybody's just like, you see Lee sitting around all love-struck and everything, and Naruto as well, because he likes her. Sakura, you know. So that's how the chapter ends up. That's how the volume ends off, too. And honestly, I did not realize it. Well, of course, I didn't know, because I don't know with these battles. I didn't know which ones were going to take up one chapter, which ones were going to take 3 or 4. This particular one, probably because it's focusing on Sakura, one of those 3 main characters, is obviously taking a little bit longer. And it's going through the motions. I have to say though that honestly, for a battle that wasn't you know, crazy as far as having these different types of moves and being able to have bugs come from your body or be a puppet master or, you know, fucking throw fireballs or whatever, this was actually a pretty cool match when you think about it. At least so far it has been. Ino's power is very cool and very unique, but again, can really only be used in a spy or espionage type fashion where the person is, you know, unaware that they're about to be possessed or being held in place. She was able to actually lure her in by making Sakura think that she was at first dodging that attack, and she actually lured her into her trap. So I actually like that with the fights. I really like how they're very you know, they're very methodical and technical, and there's a lot of intricacies to them. You know, it wasn't just a straight up like, okay, let's beat the shit out of each other. You know, and it's been like that with a few of the fights. You know, one person thinking they have the upper hand, but the other person really just lulled them into a false sense of security, and then wound up going and using some sort of move or technique that the other was unaware. And that's really, to me, that's what keeps fights interesting. So they're very good stuff. My chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, you know, what are your thoughts on Ino's power in general? If you had that type of power, I guess I should say, what would you, the Shintenshin, what, I always forget the name, damn it. Sorry. Apologize. Shintenshin No Jutsu. If you had that power, instead of just saying, what do you think about the power and everything else, if you had possession or the ability to use that power, what would you use it for? And there's the obvious, well, you know, there's a bunch of different answers. Let's just put it that way that I could think of. There's certainly, you know, things ranging from funny and comical to goofy and perverted and everything in between, you know, useful and sadistic. But let me know what you would use the Shintenshin No Jutsu for if you possess that power, brothers and sisters. And let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
You should subscribe to my other channels and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, okay?